Voice check. Voice check.
Voice check.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. What amazing Stint 1 it was. Welcome to the live stream of Stint 2, and I want to welcome to the commentary box as my co-commentary Jordan Clark. Welcome on board with me, Jordan. How are you doing?
Hello, Tom. I'm excited. That was some of the most incredible 3 hours I think I've ever seen in Gran Turismo.
It was amazing, eh? It was amazing. Unfortunately for Caliber, who got his disconnection, that was so unfortunate for that team. But I'm pretty sure they're gonna come back.
It all depends on how Liam's gonna do. From what we've been hearing, he's pretty quick himself, so hopefully he can bring it back. He's got a tough start right from the back, 11th position. But if he's anything as quick as his teammate, it's going to be a really interesting first stint for him.
Yeah, definitely. And it is lights out, guys, for Stint 2. Another 3 hours of the 12 hours of Francorchamps. I'll welcome you all on board for the next 3 hours. With me and Jordan, we will be giving you all the info around and on the track. Jordan will be mentioning some extra data, as he has been the reporter the past day, going around talking to the teams and everything. And as we see, the boys have lifted off for lap 1, and we are with CHRR1. You guys know from previous edition 1, that I call your guys' names a little bit shorter. It makes it a little bit easier to talk. And it's again at the lead of the race after 3 hours. It's Kartal Wittlich Esports leading with the Corvette, an amazing Stint 1. And GTS Vega, who has taken over the car from Randy Moore. The guys from GTSV Racing Team. These guys definitely want to try to get their hands on that first position. What do you think, Jordan?
It's going to be interesting to see where the V12 Vantage of GTSV can compete with the Corvette this time round. The Aston hasn't been as strong this race as it was last time out. These Corvettes are becoming a bit of an issue, especially down the straight. They definitely have better tyre wear than the V12s do, but whether Vega can do something about it, we'll just have to wait and see. It's not too far away, and he is gaining on that first position right now, so bit of slipstream. It could be interesting this next 10 minutes.
Yeah, well, it is interesting to see a Corvette, then an Aston, and again a Corvette in a 1-2-3. So I'm pretty sure that the guys at GTSV are a bit nervous, as they have a Corvette ahead of them and a Corvette behind them.
Well, it'll be the case that I think that, based off of last year and it being so strong, the one downside that the Astons had was the tyre wear, was the fuel, was the stability. It was great down the straights, and it still is great on top end speed. But we've just noticed from the Stint 1 drivers that some of these teams have tuned their cars to take away a little bit from the top speed, to give themselves better tyre wear, better stability, and hopefully it can be stronger for longer. And the Corvettes are taking full advantage down that straight with just the top end speed, and the car naturally has the tyre wear in it. So yeah, these two are the ones to watch. I think first through second will definitely be. But like you said, the second car, which AXR have put out with the Corvette, to be starting up here in third is fantastic. Splash had an incredible first stint, and the AXR, they have been the ones to watch so far. They've been doing complete alternate strategies. Obviously, the Mercedes was completely radically going off pace for everyone else, and he was the fastest. If Liam can put anything on that fast, these AXR boys, they are the ones to watch.
Yeah, definitely. The previous edition, they were struggling with the R8s. They had a tough time, but as we are looking right now in the back of the field at the moment, the battle is on there. These guys, they want to move up. As we see AXR Liam already in 6th position, and I'm hopping over to Liam. He is gonna push. We're 100% sure of that. He wants to make up that lost disconnection time, and he is doing a splendid job at the moment. 5th, and 3 cars coming down up to the bus stop.
I asked him during that stint, when he was kind of watching from the pit wall, what he thought of what their reaction was to the disconnect. It was just a pure unfortunate internet disconnection. It happens from time to time. They are absolutely gutted, but their reaction pretty much is now they're behind. They know they're behind, and they know they've got the pace. Apparently he's going to come back faster. So his words literally were, full send from now on. They've got nothing to lose. This AXR car, Mercedes, is going to be exciting for the next 9 hours.
Yep, we still are 9 hours to go. As we see in Corey taking it over, the 7th position from Danker. TAG Danker, as we always call him, our American hero. And I'm going a little bit down, and we are now with SCW Baker in 9th, and he has the Porsche right behind him in 10th position. And in 11th position we have the Jaguar with SCW Chicken. I think Chicken is gonna be just like in previous stint, aiming just to keep it, you know, keeping the pace and keeping it just clean, not making mistakes. Because these guys drive well on their pace. They, like Adrian said in the commentary box, these guys, okay, they're not doing the fastest laps, but they're maintaining the pace really nicely. So if anything goes wrong ahead of him, he can just pick it up, you know?
Yeah, these guys coming into the race with all of their cars, especially the 2 Jaguars. The Jaguar's a new car. We haven't seen it race this series with us before. So it's a bit of an oddball. Nobody really knows how well it's going to be performing. They've obviously kept all of their secrets. We've had a wonderful time chatting over the last 24 hours. They've been trying to get me off their strategy all week. Nobody's given me anything. It's been obviously they're not obliged to. So
no, of course not.
Look, most teams have kept their trade secrets, as it said, very, very close to them. We did see that these Jaguars did the least stops last time out. They were the only car to do a 3 stop, I believe, in the last stint. So it all depends on how fast they can do that car. These Jaguars are a bit more heavy on the front tyre wear, but they're equally good as on fuel. So I believe that their expectation is they're strong through first and third, but the second sector is where this car has been you know, a little bit more difficult. So it'd be interesting to see where they do. But these guys are just happy to be here, get the experience. These guys have been racing a lot recently. I think most of the guys on this grid have more races coming up tomorrow or in the next week. So a lot of racing. They're just happy to be here. They just want to get a good finish and actually finish.
Yeah, of course. It's nice to see that, you know, a team puts in a three-way car on the grid. You know, I'm definitely sure that those guys have worked a bit together. We know them from outside the World Tour Racing Club, as myself and I think also you, Jordan, have been racing with them. So like you said, they're picking up experience, and I'm very sure they're just like Eggs are stepping up. They're gonna move up definitely. If we see now that the pace this edition in the first stint was already very high. For me as a race director, I was a little bit surprised on the high pace. If I see a 14.0 straight,
Oh, Kevin, go on.
I'm like, okay, well, the marker has been set for 12 hours.
The battle for 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th right now, there's literally like 0.3 of a second between each of them. Dankert has just got the edge, but there's just a slipstream train behind him. He's got the two SCW cars and the Academy car absolutely down his back end.
Baker is having a look on the inside, but is it on the out? That was tight. I wasn't sure that was gonna work, but was a nice effort from the Jag.
Gonna be interesting. One of my big points to watch out for this race was that battle between the Aston and the BMW of the THG
Academy
and what ones are they?
Speedstar, yeah.
They have two drivers in each stint who are very, very similar pace to each other. Corey and Dankert are similar pace to each other, and Mike and Kevin were similar pace to each other. But then the BMW can go a bit longer, the Aston can't go as long, and so this back and forth is consistently going on if both drivers manage it. It's going to be even more interesting if the Porsche and the Jag of SCW, WECF can keep up the pressure on these two like this. This could be a really interesting, exciting battle. This whole battle, Corey's having to defend like mad. It's just
of two cars,
Dankert, yeah. It's just giving Dankert a little bit of breathing space, a little bit more relaxing start to this race.
Yeah, well, as we can see, also the Porsche has picked up a big amount of pace since previous stint. With Yellow Sausage now on board, and we're quickly gonna have a look and see if my controller works correctly, because sometimes the game doesn't want to work with me. And no, once again I can't hop on board with the Porsche, unfortunately. But look at that Porsche go.
Because I actually can. The Porsche is an interesting car to be on here. I believe last year we had two. I think you actually drove a Porsche as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I was in the Porsche last year.
Just the one Porsche on the grid, and it is the car with the least power on the grid. And it's not actually as light as you might think, but it is, I believe, the only mid-engine car that's running today. So, you know, it's going to have a slightly different wear in different places, driver depending, of course. And it is one of the better fuel consumption cars on the field today, maybe with the BMW and the AMG right up there. And we did see that it was the last car to pit first by a few laps, I believe, in the last stint. The Porsche made it. Where did the Porsche make it? It made it 17 laps for the first stint, but it was able to stretch it out a little bit further. But again, that's all driver dependent. There's so many fuel saving techniques, there's so many driving techniques that will scrub your tyres more, that will save your tyres more. Better drivers, more experienced drivers will know how to make your tyres and your fuel last for 3 hours whilst keeping a quick pace, a consistent pace. And the less experienced guys, which some of these SCW guys have admitted to me that they are, not on the high experience side, but they've got to start somewhere, and this is where they're starting. But they might not be able to get that, especially being the first stint. Some of these guys, this is the longest race they've ever done, so it's going to be interesting to see, especially with the pressure that these guys are already putting on, like the mid-pack. It's going to be interesting.
Well, as we saw, Yellow Sausage, he has taken over from Baker, and he's now down on the hunt of that Aston Martin of Corey, down the Camel's Tray. And he outruns him. So at the moment, that's a P8 for the Porsche. So we will see for the next 2 hours and 45 minutes how that car will be moving up. Hopefully for them. Well, we're quickly gonna go back to the front and see how the front guys are doing. And look at that, we see CH RR1 and GTS Vega just under a second. Those GTSV racing team.
It's going to be interesting to see how much top end speed Vega has taken off of his. We know that stint 1 it was taken, Randy Moore had taken a little bit out of the car just on sheer pace, or it seemed like that against the Corvette. And it's just different tunes, different drivers. It'd be interesting to see if Vega's done the same, done similar. We'd maybe expect it, but we're not entirely sure. We'll kind of see now with the slipstream if that Corvette can hold him off, or at least keep up with the similar speeds.
That is in P3 at the moment. AXR Groot with the Corvette, and he's 4.7 seconds at the moment behind Vega, and he has the GTS 040 in 4th position, the car from the Humble Guys racing team. I'm expecting to maybe get a little surprise from TS 040. Well, we both know him really well. It is outside of the World Tour Racing Club. It is our team boss, and his experience in endurance racing is very high, so he can adapt, and he can all of a sudden pull out a strategy that we all think of, where did that come from? In 5th place at the moment, KWE Hair Grew, also with the Corvette.
Speaking of Corvette, it's going to be very interesting to see what the top two do going into the bus stop on this lap here. Vega's just pulled ahead, and he's just gotten out of the slipstream range. The Corvette is looking a little bit unstable here for him. Just through sector 2, he just had a few little niggles around turn 12.
Sector 2, that would be Piff Path.
quite have enough on him to make a comeback, so he's going to have to take him down the Kemmel straight again if he wants to do anything. He's still just out of the slipstream. He really needs to break a bit later here to keep up with Vega on this straight. He hasn't done it. Squarely on the outside.
It was a little swirly coming out of La Source. That puts him just over a second behind now. So he's not in slipstream range now, CHR.
Yeah, Yellow Sausages is looking like he's going to go for a move into turn 1. He didn't.
Oh, he's all over the back now of Danker with that Porsche.
I think that position is going to switch at the end of here. He needs to hold off a little bit just so he can go flat out. He's still got it. This is where it's going to be interesting because the M6s have so much power. Tell you what, that Porsche doesn't look like it bothers it.
Who's gonna be first? Who's gonna be last on the brakes? It was first the Porsche on the brakes, but taking on inside, outside, just blocking that M6 off. And now it's so important for that Porsche to get away from that M6, because the Porsche is on the lower speed of all of these cars, on the straight line speed, so Yellow Sausage.
Tell you what, Yellow Sausages, he's putting a stint in. This is impressive. This is really impressive from him so far. And I think for him here, he's gonna have the advantage. He's gonna be able to go a lap or two longer than some of the cars around him.
Well, I'm quickly gonna switch over to the fuel of Dankert. Yeah, and you're correct on that one, as Dankert is lower on fuel than the Porsche. And yeah, probably 2 laps now.
Yeah, the 4-litre V6 of the Porsche it just saves fuel naturally better. And so you don't have to really worry if you're driving the Porsche about managing your fuel as much. It takes a little bit pressure off of his each time he goes in for a pit stop. It'll just be interesting to see if they do go the full 4. Maybe if he's got a bit more pace. I mean, we're expecting a 4-stop from this Porsche, but maybe they'll be longer. Maybe they'll be longer, which means he gets to fuel a little bit less at the end, which will make his car a lot lighter.
And Corey, he has Baker right behind him. Corey with the THG Academy Aston Martin. He has taken over from THG Kevin 32, and unfortunately what happened to Kevin in previous stint, he did an amazing race with against the M6 with THG Mike on board. Unfortunately Kevin made a mistake and got that engine damage.
How many laps did we run in the end? Did we run 70, 74? Was it 74 laps we ran?
Yeah,
actually,
something like that.
At the end, lap 71. I didn't actually see what happened, but Kevin, he must have hit a wall somewhere along. He kind of got that battle for 6th.
And Baker just got past Corey, putting that Jaguar into 9th now.
It'll be interesting to see.
If Corey can stick with him.
I've had a little bit of input into Corey's car. Not the last 2 weeks, so things might have changed drastically. I tuned the gearbox for him. Whether he still has the same gearbox, I'm not actually too sure. It might look like it. But one of the issues with this car is the back end will kick out on you if you're not careful, and as the tyre wear gets down, it gets easy to do it. So Sector 2 is going to be very, very interesting for both Astons, but certainly for the THG Academy Aston. As we saw, Kevin lost control a couple of times. One of them hurt him badly, lost him positions right at the end, right at the dead. Maybe he was pushing a little bit too hard to try and get a bit more on him. But it's going to be interesting. Corey has to fight, but he has to look after this car.
Well, so far it's GTS Vega who has set the fastest lap of 2:14.9. We know from previous stint that so far in the race the fastest lap is a 14.000.
8.
Yeah, 8.
Every
you have to add that.
Counts in racing.
Yeah, everything counts. That's right. And the time between Vega and CHR stays a little bit the same. Vega, I think he is trying to take tenths every lap from CHR.
I've lost my bit of paper that had how we pronounce drivers' names, because I know that we tried to work it out.
Yeah, we tried to work it out, and of course, yeah, like also Adrian said, our apologies if we mention your name a little bit different or a little bit wrong, guys. I mean, we're all from around the world. I'm from Belgium. Jordan here in the commentary box is from the UK, so we all speak a little bit different. We do all speak English, but in P3 at the moment, the AXR boys, AXR Groot. And if I look at the times at the moment from Groot, he is settling down at the moment into the 16s. So
number 89 Corvette is going to put a number here on the THG car down the Kemmel Straight. We're really going to have to see some class defending here.
Yeah. He is in the slipstream. The Corvette. Does TS040 can keep him off? Don't think so. Look at that speed of the Corvette. He passes it like it's nothing.
It's got 4 or 5 kilometers an hour on every car on the grid, doesn't it? But we have seen it struggle through Sector 2, and I know for a fact this exact Mercedes is very good round Sector 2. The way that the way that TS040 has it set up, he will not lose any time on Hairgrew through this sector.
Yeah, and it's not gonna take long. It's not gonna take long before AXR Liam is also gonna come down towards TS040. Here we are with Liam. That time was dropping, and that time was dropping, but it stays a bit stable now.
The Mercedes is a very good car. It's probably the best all-rounder on the grid. It's not the best down the straight. It's not the best in the corners. It might not even be the best on fuel and tyre wear, but it's the second best in most of those categories. Just the best all-rounder car. It's a very comfortable car. It's very easy to drive. It's very easy to tune as well. Got a lot of
I personally like. I personally when I drive, and I like the AMG a lot. Like on the Nürburgring Nordschleife, the 24-hour track. I love driving the AMG there. It's so stable. It's so good. It actually takes care of you.
Getting to the point again, we don't know where to look. There's a battle on for 4th and 5th. There's a massive 3-car battle for 8th, 9th and 10th. There's coming into the bus stop now with about 0.3 of a second. Is anyone going to be brave? Yes. Baker is brave. Doesn't quite do it though.
What? That was
Dankert.
Dankert. Where is he? Where is he? Here he is.
lost 2 positions. Just
he did keep it out of the
put
wall.
He did very well to hold that. Just put a bit too much throttle coming out of turn 20. It's easy to get it, and this M6, like the Aston, the back end can kick out on you. You have to manage it, you have to control it. The throttle inputs have to be so precise.
But a nice save from Dankert.
Oh, it was,
and also he's still with these guys. He's still with these guys. Look at that.
If anything, it's going to benefit him a little bit. He's not lost too much time. It was a fantastic save. They could have gone away, but he's already gained an extra position back. The biggest winner really was Baker in all of that. Baker was all over Mike, probably all over Dankert. Probably the pressure just forced a little error, a little mistake from Dankert.
Dankert, he's looking to come back. He wants that position from Baker. Coming up to Piff Path now. Is he gonna try it on the inside? Yeah, I thought so. No, that's not gonna work.
This is what we're told, that Jaguar isn't the greatest through Sector 2. That's its weak point, and this is where it starts to pull away again. It's got the team have said that the Jaguars have great pull in Sector 1 and in Sector 3, but if they can keep a car behind them, then they can start to pull away. Slipstream obviously will have a different effect on that, but I think Mike might have a little look here.
Dankert on the inside on the bus stop.
Oh, that was very well defended. Great driver awareness from Dankert not to make any contact there.
Now Dankert is gonna have to watch out for Corey as we are going through La Source. Dankert taking it nice shortly.
This is the battle that I was expecting to see. The Aston and the BMW of the Academy and Speedstar. Baker's just come in to join the party, and Yellow Sausage has kind of left these guys for now. But these two cars, the Aston and the BMW, were just at it all stint last turn. You know, it was just. It was really good, and the BMW had the better tyres. The Aston didn't have the fuel. You know, by lap 58 it took for the Aston to break some sort of slipstream. It was that long into the race, and then we did see Kevin just start to pull away until he made that mistake. It was kind of his. It's going to be interesting to see how these two can do, because again, they're similar pace to each other. They're going to stick with each other all race unless mistakes are made. It's going to be interesting to see what Baker does. He's got the advantage now, but
looking at Yellow Sausage now, because he's pulling away from those three guys lap by lap, little by little, and if we look at his race pace, it's very stable. It's all 7.
Corvette is in.
The first pit stop is in. XR Liam also.
Expecting the XR boys are sticking with their strategy. They've done this before. It worked for them. Unfortunately, the disconnect.
Connection, yeah. So they're putting in the same strategy.
How it went, but we did see the strategy. It was slightly different with Splash. He didn't start it the same way. But he did finish it on the same strategy, whereas these two, they're both doing the exact same strategy here. These guys have planned this, they know what they're doing now, they've seen it work, and they've not had to make any changes. That's what they're going to do. It's going to make this a very, very interesting race, disconnections permitting, of course. Hopefully there isn't any this time.
Yeah, well, it is very obvious, and we all see it, that those guys have sat down and calculated everything and worked it all out perfectly. And I know all of the teams the past months have been testing a lot, tuning the cars not only, and you know, setting it up, but also strategy wise. I know that they have tested all kinds of strategies just to get it perfect, and also, you know, to have a plan B ready for when things go wrong. What if we have to adjust our strategy? What can we do? Are we prepared for that? Because it's a 12-hour race, and we do see a difference between edition 1, that teams have come in here now with a much better preparation. For me as race director, I see that immediately. I mean, when I saw previous Stint caliber coming early in, that was immediately for me like, okay, these guys, they got it, they got this, they worked this they worked this out.
It's interesting. This is where it's slightly different in the same car, especially with Liam. Caliber came in on lap 11 in the last stint, way earlier than anyone was expecting. We kind of expect kind of a pit window of lap 14 to 17 is kind of what we were coming in expecting. So to go in on lap 11, maybe he maybe undercooked it a bit too much, but it was working for him clearly. I mean, we didn't actually get to see what he did, because he did go slightly longer for the stint after. But again, he was doing 11, 12 laps, whereas we've got here 14 laps now, and it's kind of a good strategy. It's an earlier strategy. The AMG can do it. I was quite surprised that the Corvette came in at the same time as Stint to go a lap earlier. Corvette definitely can go the extra lap, as can the AMG, to be fair.
Yeah, well, talking about fuel and everything, we can now see the difference between the AMG and the Porsche, as we are with the AMG now, and we see that TS040 will have to come in for fuel. And if we look at Yellow Sausage, he can still keep going. So he has a big fuel advantage.
Yeah, I think that Yellow Sausage, if he plays his card right, doesn't have to do a little bit too much fuel saving, but if he does do any sort of fuel saving, he could easily stretch this car, if his tyres will let him. That's the big thing. Easily another 2 laps.
Well, his tires at the moment are better than, for example, as an example, of TS040.
I am quite surprised by that, and like we said, this is the only mid-range car, so those front tyres especially are gonna not suffer as much. But you can just see as well, if you go down to Baker, which we're on here, the front tyres of the Jaguar, they don't hold out as well.
Well, I was also testing the Jaguar. I was normally also in the lineup to race with the WTRC Racing Jaguar. Circumstances changed that a bit around, but yeah, I had the same kind of issue with the Jag, that those front tires, yeah, they get eaten. You have to take care of them. As we see that pit stop for TS040, GTS Vega, KWR also in the pit lane, CHR.
I think lap 16, as we saw in the first stint, lap 16 is kind of where most drivers will be looking to pit, unless you're in an AXR car or a Jaguar or the Porsche. It is kind of looking like that's where most of the cars will kind of pit. But it's interesting because from the testing that we were doing, lap 17 just gives you slight advantage later on in the race, because you can do a slightly shorter pit stop later on. But it's not worth the risk this early, is probably what a lot of these drivers are thinking. Rather than fuel saving, they're all pushing pretty hard, and then 16 laps is all you're going to get if you're going to push that hard and not do any fuel saving.
Yeah, and as we see, the guys are all coming back out after a first pit stop. I think everybody has done it. Baker is in. SCW Chicken is in.
Yeah, it was interesting to see the Porsche not try and go an extra lap.
Yeah, but it did save. It did save him, of course, pit time.
It saved him seconds. It did save him pit time. So it's normally how I've driven when I've driven, especially in the Mercedes. I've always preferred to fuel save where I can as much as I can, because it will always give me less time in the pit stop. I've had times where Yellow Sausage is having a little niggle there. That's cold tyres. I've had times where I've made 2 or 3 seconds on a car ahead of me because I've done so well with my fuel. And when you sometimes struggle to make time on the track, time in the pits is another way that you can gain a position and win a race. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think Yellow Sausage is going to play on that a lot. Not that he needs to, but if he wants to try and take some time out of TSO 40 and keep Baker behind him, then that's only going to play into him by the end of the race.
Yeah, definitely. And as we a little bit predicted, of course, AXR Liam, he has moved up to 4th. And the two AXR cars, both together, position 3 and 4 now.
It's going to benefit. This is where team strategy could come into play. We did see it a few times between the KWE guys that they will happily move out of the line and let some guys go past if they're on a longer stint or if they're going faster. It's going to be interesting to see what Groot and Liam do here, because Liam's got pace. He's actually pulled a faster lap than him, and on average I think Liam is the faster driver here.
Well, I'm hopping over to Groot and just to see the lap times. Now Groot is a little bit slower than Liam. Liam did just set the fastest lap of a 14.8.
So he's a little bit snappy going into turn 11.
Yeah, but Liam is a man on a mission. He's a man on a mission.
Definitely on a mission. Like I said, they've got nothing to lose here. And that's what I think, for this Mercedes to really get back into the race. They're clearly both two very fast drivers. For them to get back into this race, I think we could see a little bit of team strategy here. Maybe using the slipstream to bring Liam back into that second place battle a bit quicker. But what AXR aren't going to want to do here is hold each other up, and I don't think they will do. There's not much of a pace difference through certain sectors, but you can see here he's catching them up so quick.
Yeah, he's catching up really quick now.
It'll be interesting. Groot did not want to let him by at all. He is racing. This is what it's
well,
nice
the race
to see
is on, you know.
Teammates. Yeah, I mean, as far as Groot's aware, his car is in a better position in terms of the overall race so far than that Mercedes. So as much as he wants to let that Mercedes go and play the team game and let that Mercedes get back into it, he doesn't want to ruin his car's race to let that happen.
Well, who knows, maybe they're team orders. Who knows, but as I see right now, I don't see any team orders because the battle is on.
Oh, no,
AXR versus AXR, and that is something that's really nice to see. And there you go, Liam just goes past him. Liam, he, like we said, he has the better pace. But look at that, it sets that AMG back up front. So the next in line will be the Corvette of CHRR1.
seen in the chat, Matthew Pig kind of saying about the effort from the SCW and WECFF guys that put together. It's very interesting because during my chats with all of the guys in all of those cars, pretty much all of them had given Matthew Pig a massive shout out for the work that he's also done to these cars, and some of these cars, especially the cars that we're seeing kind of running in 7th, 8th right now, the effort that he's put into with some of these drivers, they are all very, very grateful to that man right there. So they'll appreciate his support, they'll appreciate the fact that he's watching them and cheering them on for at least the first 6 hours of the race. How long he'll stay with us in the chat, I'm not entirely sure. It is a long day after all.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me if he stays the full 12 hours. I know he's a great man. He's a great man, and also these guys, their liveries on their cars, they're done a beautiful job on that also.
Well, I know that liveries was a big talking point at some point in the stint. Last time out, and it was really funny because I was literally creating things to talk about whilst we're watching this, and the liveries was a big thing because I was going to ask you the question as to Tom, what is your favourite livery on the grid this year?
Oh, that's a difficult one. My favourite livery as a race director, well, for those who know me, I like I like a little arty kind of thing, but I'm now talking purely personal, and I don't want anybody to take any offense. But I like the GTSV guys here. I like this livery. It's nice and bright. But on the other hand, if I go through the pack and I look at KWE here, the guys with the Corvettes, that they made a livery that, you know, shows power in my eyes, you know. And to be honest, on coloring and everything, I love this car. I love Baker, the SCW car, their livery. I think a little bit more than the rest, but that's personal taste. That's personal taste, Jordan.
Yeah, I like you say, it is all personal taste, but that's why it's great that there's so many different liveries on showcases. They have free choice. They get to create their own liveries. There's only a few rules that you and the team have actually set regarding sponsors. I have two cars that really stand out as Hairgroove has really got himself into this 4th place battle with Brute here. I really like the Mercedes of the AXR. I love a good Mercedes livery. But honestly, my favourite, I'm going to have to give this one to the SCW. The Porsche of WEC.
The Porsche?
The WEC Porsche for me it makes me want to exit this lobby right now, go download it, put it on my own Porsche.
And KWE battling it out with Grodd. He comes now in between the two AXR cars. Let's see if Grodd can stick with that Corvette or not. Two Corvettes up against each other for the P4, P5. And Liam we have in P3 now.
Going to be interesting, but for the guys watching, let us know in the comments what liveries you are liking from this year's race. Are you guys playing favourites? or are you just, you know, do you think you could do better? You know, put yourselves out there. Let's see who's good at liveries in the chat.
Yeah, it's also, yeah, well, it's always nice to know somebody that, you know, can just do that one special livery that you're searching in or you're struggling with to make. There are some great guys out there who can make beautiful liveries. And we see Groot, he's trying to stick with KWE here. He doesn't want to let that go. And in P6 at the moment we have GTS PS4. He's just done his fastest lap of a 2:15.4. And he has a 34-second lead on the Porsche of Yellow Sausages at the moment. And Yellow Sausages, look, he has made a huge gap, 11 seconds now on the three Dankert, Corey and Chicken.
This is where for him it's gonna start to get tough. We're almost an hour in, a third of the way there. He's starting to build a good gap behind him, so there's no pressure coming, but he's not really taking anything out of TS040 as of yet. You know, there's kind of a second difference between their lap time, so he's not going to gain as much as he maybe would like. So he's going to end up racing his own race for a large portion of what it seems to be this race, and that's going to start to affect his concentration. Will he start to make mistakes later on in this race? So it's going to start to get very serious for him. Sometimes some drivers like it. I've always liked it when, you know, you can just relax for a large portion of the race and all the excitement comes at the beginning and the end, especially when you're running for 3 hours. You don't have the toll of having to defend and chase for the whole time, as much as we love to see it. I think he'll be feeling pretty confident about his position here. He won't be too worried about trying to take time to just build the barrier between him and just race his own race, but hopefully he can keep that concentration up for another 2 hours 9 minutes.
Well, the guys are sticking pretty close to each other, the front guys. There's not a lot of time difference, except for GTSV Vega. He has a 4-second lead, and I'm just now looking at his fuel and his tires at the moment, and that in comparison with CHR R1, and sorry if I switch over, but that's the way that I can see the fuel. They're both exactly on the same. That's
it's really interesting.
Really interesting to see Corvette and Aston completely on the same amount of fuel and the same amount of tires.
And this is going to play into Vega's hands, because that's where the Aston has lost out almost to the Corvette this time. It's had to pit a bit earlier. It's not been able to hold them tyres a lot more. He is doing such an amazing job to look after this car. He's still pulling away and he's looking after the car. If he keeps this up, he will end up maybe running away with this a lot more, but he's doing an amazing job with that Aston right now. Not many people can drive this car around this track like the way he's doing that right now. He's not as fast as some of the other drivers we've seen in Lobby A and even in this lobby with Liam posting, you know, the fastest lap, but he is being very, very consistent. He did run his second lap slightly slower, so maybe that's helped with the fuel and the tyres. He's taken a little bit of time out of his standard 215s. He ran a very low 216, half a second slower, but he doesn't need to push at the moment. He's got the position, and you know, if he's got the position and he can match the strategy.
Well, talking about pushing, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we got KWE Hare. He is pushing because he wants Liam. With just under a second, it was closer, right up ahead of the bus stop. So on the bus stop, made him lose a few tenths. Oh, a little swirly there from her. He's pushing. He knows that the camel straight, he's got to get close to that AMG. Going up rather low.
Good, you just see how Liam defends this.
Yeah.
So let him go up the inside.
He's gonna block him off.
The extra pace of the Corvette just helps with the slipstream as well on top. And the battle for the podium right now is starting to heat up.
And we have behind these guys, we have Groot also there on 3 seconds. So it's a three-way battle now between 2, 3 and 4. They're all coming together. Both of the Cartel Whitley Corvettes and the AXR AMG.
AXR will be willing Hairgrew on this race to beat the other team car, because that position will just help the Mercedes get back into it just a little bit. Right now they are keeping each other in this race. They're keeping Liam in this race. Got a little gap appeared, but they just keep fighting themselves.
Oh, I'll break. That was heavy, and this gives Liam a chance to get up into the toe of these guys. That was really close between the two team cars.
Tell you right now that Dodo will be biting his nails right now. He'll be
definitely.
They can just keep it clean, keep it on the track. He doesn't want to stop them from racing. I don't think any driver wants to stop any other driver from racing. This isn't Formula One, but just keep that car.
Liam all over the back of CHR.
The top end speeds of these Corvettes are going to come into effect a little bit here. Although the double slipstream almost. Liam is flying down there.
Oh, and it is CHR who outbraked himself. Or maybe got a little bit surprised by Liam.
Situation. He doesn't want to. He's watching behind. He's watching ahead. He's kind of sandwiched there, and he can relax a little bit now. I don't think he's going to let these two pull away from him here, but he just doesn't. Takes a little bit of the pressure off. It's always nicer to chase than to be chased, and maybe he can put a bit of pressure on Liam now and create Liam going into the bus stop the same issue that he just had.
I do get the impression that Liam is struggling a little bit with that AMG because CHR, he's back. He's back with Liam. Oh, he taken over the position. And like I said, watch out, because Groot, he's also there. And he's like, okay guys, you battle. Go ahead and battle the two of you. It does make you a bit slower if you battle.
Groot's just gone off at turn, between turn 16 and 17. He's got back on the track, but had a bit of time. He's just lost 4 or 5 tenths out of the battle, but he'll get it back if these guys continue to race like this ahead of him.
Yeah, well, I think a few laps back, Groot was just over 3 seconds behind these guys. And that has come down under the 3 seconds, so...
Just trying to work out what's going to be going through Liam's head right now. It's a long race. He doesn't need to do anything drastic just yet, but he's seen some mistakes being made when these cars end up under pressure at the end of the straights. And if he's just going to pounce and put even more pressure on and hope that he can force one of these cars, one of these Corvettes to make the mistake, it'd be interesting to see what happens here. He won't have as much speed. But you see that
Liam
Corvette
again.
just holding him off there.
Liam on the outside. He's
Very
gonna
well
pull it off.
defended.
Oh, contact there between the two.
He's just pulled out there. Probably the wise decision. Pull out there, relax a bit, go at him on the next. Go at him at the bus stop, take him at the next attempt. Could have got messy there. That was good discipline. I just have a feeling that maybe Corvette didn't quite see where the Mercedes were. Did well to react.
As these guys battle on, I'm gonna quickly have a look down the grid, as we also see that TS040, he is coming closer to Groot. He's doing a steady pace of 15s at the moment, and Groot, he is doing 16s.
We have a 4-place battle for third place right now. There's some. Liam is defending very hard going into the bus stop.
This race is really on between these guys. Now they know they have 2 hours still to go, so they don't want to do. They don't want to make it. How do I say? They don't want to make it too ridiculous or do too crazy. They want to battle, but you know, the last thing that you want is getting a damaged car or something. And it doesn't have to always be your fault or the other driver's fault. It's like if you don't have the room.
Well, this next kind of 10 minutes or so is going to be interesting. We've got 2 different cars in the Mercedes and the Corvette, 3 different teams, all battling for third place at the same time. A little gap between 5th and 6th and 3rd and 4th, but it's hard to say where you're going to look. I mean, there's 4 tenths, 5 tenths between one and 6 tenths between the other. We'll try to.
And watch out! We got to watch out for the underdogs also. I always call them a little bit the underdogs, like I said, because we have Groot here right behind the front guys battling, and we have TS040 also here. So if one of the 2, 3 or 4 make a mistake, yeah, these guys will be right on top of it.
Very interesting as well. Down in 9th and 10th, that BMW versus Aston that we're going to be watching through both stints. Different drivers again, running the car slightly differently from each other, and the BMW has better fuel still, but the tyres are in favour of the Aston still. So it's going to be interesting. There's 4 or 5 seconds between them, so over the next hour and a half, that could get spicy towards the end. It all depends on who happens. I just wonder if Corey's pace is exactly the same. Corey must have had a little moment. He's had a moment now, a massive moment now. That was massive snap going into turn 9.
And it's Groot. He's going into the pit lane. Sorry to interrupt you. We're definitely gonna go down the grid in a moment, so that puts TS040 now in P5, and the battle for third, it keeps on going, guys. It keeps on going.
The XR cars this stint, they are taking a slightly different strategy to the cars of the first stint. They are on the same strategy as the cars around them. The Mercedes is pushing longer using its extra fuel capacity that it can get out of its tank. Groot has pitted around when I was expecting the AXR cars to pit, and the an AXR Mercedes, the AXR Liam, he doesn't want to lose this battle right now, and just wonder whether his tyres will be able to cope, because the Corvette in front of him's tyres are so much better. Even though it's got a heavier car, the tyre wear is just so drastic there.
Well, at the moment we're with THG Corey, who is 6.3 seconds behind Danker, and he is clear of SCW Chicken with 32 seconds. So yeah, if we again look at the times of SCW Chicken, well, look, these guys are just maintaining their pace, just like in Stint 1, keeping it nice and clean. For these guys, the think, like you said, is a massive step up in experience, and if there is going to be an addition 3 of the 12 hours, I think this is a team that we're definitely going to have to look out for on, you know, how much they improve.
Yeah, we're going to see Liam pit here.
And well, quickly going over it. I can't get to Liam, and now I can. Liam, he's coming in. He has set a 14.4 fastest lap. So if he could get that lap time, those 14s back.
It'd be interesting to see where Yellow Sausages squeezes in here. I think Liam will still probably come out of the pits with the shorter fuel time ahead of him.
Let's see how much fuel.
He's got Groot chasing him down now. He's going to be in slipstream probably by the Camel Straight.
Oh yeah, Groot has already come in, so there will definitely be a driver switch. Oh, was that Groot hitting the wall at La Source? Or was it just a little glitch in the game?
Groot has lost 4 or 5 temps, so something must have happened. I didn't quite catch it. I was focused on Liam just coming out. Liam's got 2.6, 2.7 seconds. So he should pull away on the fresher tyres from P6 and P7. At some point, Groot is going to overtake Yellow Sausages. It's going to be interesting because the Porsche isn't going to be pitting anytime soon, so he's got the position, but he doesn't want to defend too hard, seeing as he's on a different strategy to Groot. It's going to be interesting to see what Yellow Sausages does. How hard is he going to defend that Corvette on the fresher tyres? He has every right to defend him, but he's not going to be able to do it for very long, you wouldn't think.
Well, due to the pit stops now, the field is spread out a little bit again now.
Yeah, the only battle that we really have is 6th and 7th right now. But only 2 cars have made 2 stops, and that is the AXR cars. So it might bunch up again a little bit as we come into the pits. I think Groot is going to get past the Porsche here. The Porsche is going to battle him though, and he's got a very
contact there.
Very aggressive in the in the defending, and now he's going to push hard. I think he might.
This is going to be a penalty for the Yellow Sausage, I think, for the Porsche. Is it or is it not? By going so wide.
Got away with it. He very nearly did cause a collision. Now that could have just been that he didn't have a radar up. He didn't realise how close it was. It can be very hard in sim racing to kind of gauge exactly where the next car is. Personally, I drive from the cockpit view, and it is even harder to see where the car next to you is if you don't have your radar up. So hopefully that wasn't malicious. I don't think it was. But it only would have cost Root a few attempts from catching Liam, but the gap to Liam is now 5 seconds, so it's going to be a struggle to catch him up anyway.
Yeah, Liam, he's faster on pace, so...
Like we said, Yellow Sausages, he had every right for this battle for 6th. He's not on a blue flag, nobody's been lapped, he's just on different strategies. And that has an effect in the fact that Root will have the better tyres, will have the fresher tyres. Even though with the lighter car, and like we said, you've kind of got the Corvette, which is the second most powerful car on the grid against the Porsche, which has the least in it. There's about 38 brake horsepower difference in these two cars, and the Porsche isn't making up with it from being the lightest either. The Porsche is actually heavier than the Corvette, just double checking here.
And we have SCW Chicken, he's on blue flags now for GTS Vega. And Vega, look, he has extended his lead to 7.7 seconds. So he's really going for it.
It's interesting, he did have a lap where he maybe made a little mistake, and lap 22 went for a 2:16, but he has been consistently in the mid 2:15s. He's just posted another 2:16. I am hoping that my data on my screen is correct. Sometimes GT doesn't like it when you jump in and out like I'm doing. So hopefully the stream, the 2:16.65 is the same.
Oh, well, Chicken, he doesn't have to move
Chicken,
out of the way.
I think that what Chicken's done there is he's just gotten out of the way. You're not my race.
Yeah, these guys know they
to just run it wide and you know,
let you
it's not gonna
pass.
affect my race too much. Let you get out of my way. I do not want any business with the race leader right now. So good sportsmanship. Well done, Chicken. That was you know, maybe he wouldn't have wanted to quite go off like that, but I think it gets to the point where you just want to get out of the way. In you know, you don't want to be an issue. You don't want anything trouble, because you can hurt yourself and the other driver. So it's going to be very interesting as well to see where the race leader comes out against the two in the pit.
Well, I'm gonna leave you guys for a moment with Jordan as I quickly take a bathroom break and grab myself something quickly to drink, and I will be right back on with Jordan. Jordan, I'll talk to you in a few minutes.
What are we gonna do? Radio style, as you won't be able to flick between the action. I'll just have to talk you through it the best that I can. So we've got, I believe, Corey and Danker on blue flags from the Corvettes. They've already been overtaken by Vega. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I believe that, SCW Chicken actually benefited from the blue flag, gave up a position, because I think Danker maybe got a little bit confused with who the blue flag coming out of the pits was exactly for. Danker has already pitted, and we see Chicken, Chicken has gone off the track again. He just needs to wait for that. If I was him, there we go, he just, very nicely done. He got back on the track and let the blue flag go. It's like he's done that before. But his tyres, he's really feeling it here. We expected to see him in the pit not too soon. sausages in 7th against Groot. He is taking a bit of time out. He's going to be pitting again soon, and obviously Groot has pit, so that battle won't be lasting too much longer. Liam has 9 seconds between his fellow teammate in the other car, but 37 seconds behind 4th place. However, that won't be much longer, as I have a feeling that TSO40 and the THG will be pitting, as I think we're going to see the top 4 all pit one after the other. Don't know if it was just a glitch, but we saw Vega touch the wall there. Yeah, and the top 4 are all in lap 32 for their second stop. It's going to be interesting to see. They're all very similar. TSO40 has to stay in a little bit longer, but not too much longer. Maybe 2 tenths. I think it's a tenth. Someone can correct me in the thoughts. A lot of comments that I'm seeing about the pass and the move between the Porsche and Groot. It is a long race. You maybe didn't need to make that move, but we will always give the benefit of the doubt. The sim racing is hard to gauge where cars are around you, and sometimes you think that someone's going to overtake you on the right and move over to the left, and then all of a sudden they're there because they're taking a slightly different way. And Groot has gotten right back into this, into 5th place in that battle that we've seen. He's going to take advantage here of the cold tyres. Three tenths. Groot will move up into 4th place. Can't see the number 1 car, the number 1 Corvette. He didn't go for it. He just let off, let him have that position a little bit, and just brings Adam and TSO40, THG Mercedes into the mix. Hairgrew having a little bit of a swirly time going around turn 11 there, trying to keep up with Liam, who's now in 2nd place. Looking good there. Vegas still 5 seconds. He is flying away with this one. He is catching, not through sector 2, he's not catching that much. He is actually losing here and there. The battle for 4th, between 4th, 5th and 6th is up. TSO40 is so good around sector 2, I believe it's his strongest point. Obviously I was meant to be racing in this exact car. Done my leg in on Monday, so I'm not there. Massive shout out to THG Sonham for stepping in last minute. Only had a few days work in this car. This battle is just settling down a bit, half a second between kind of each driver, all in the slipstream. Nobody wants to overcommit this early. The tyres are just getting warmed up. Now we might start to see TSO40 just out of slipstream. Groot is going to have the other Corvette all over him by the end of the Kemmel Straight here going into turn 7. Might not be enough to get the move done this lap round, but Adams comes straight back into this. Back in the slipstream, just about, maybe not enough, just missed the slipstream. But he won't be too worried, as he knows that there's a battle ahead, and that's going to hold them up, and that's going to play into him. He can look after his tyres, look after his fuel, and that might help them get the edge over the next 30 plus minutes. All the testing that I did in this THG car that we're seeing here, the one thing that I was happy with is the way that I have my gearbox set up. I think TSO40 has a slightly different gearbox to the one that I had in the same car. I was able to actually post at one point a faster sector 1 time than him. I mean, he was making about 2 seconds a lap everywhere else on me, but his sector 2 is very clean, very good. Just have a little look down before they get into some meaty stuff. We are in that area where everyone's kind of comfortable, everyone's kind of jumping about. Hairgrew has taken 3 tenths out of Liam. The fresher tyres are going to start to come into play, but the battle here is between the Corvette and the Mercedes of THG. One Corvette has a little look, but he's not going to go for it. He's going to save it. He'll take the slipstream down the Kemmel Straight. Only so close that you can get going through some of these corners, and he is pretty much getting as close as he can get. And Adam is right back in it. Now he will get slipstream. The number 1 Corvette had a little moment into turn 1. Whether he actually had a moment on his screen or not is the difference, but he's flat out through Radion and then Rouge turn 3, 4 and 5. Adam has dropped off a little bit. Not entirely sure why. I think Adam here is maybe just being a little bit more conservative. He can keep up with these guys in sector 2, so he doesn't need to burn it down the straight. That's going to save him fuel on this stint and hopefully going to save him tyres. He did burn a lot more fuel than these guys going in, so they would have had a slightly marginally quicker pit stop. But every second, every millisecond, every tenth, every thousandth makes a difference across 12 hours. And we do apologise for not having visual representation of what's going on here. I will be doing my best to keep you in the loop with this 4th, 5th and 6th battle. There could be a battle on for 2nd and 3rd. There's a second between AXR Liam and KWE Hairgrew now. He has been taking out more time off of him. Liam's doing a great job keeping that pace. 215s low, 215s. He's going to be looking back at that 214.4 that he posted, and he's thinking, I want another 214. Adam and TSO40 is now all over groups. That has something he's just dropped off. The XR car getting caught out a little bit. He's burnt more of his tyres defending, and I think that's what's happened here. These guys all did pit, I believe, at the exact same time. Oh no, Groot's is obviously 4 or 5 laps earlier, and he is starting to struggle when he's under pressure there in turn 1 again. He's got to light a car, but he pitted on lap 27. These guys all pitted on lap 32. They're just getting warmed up. He's partway through his stint. TSO40 doesn't want to do is be held up here, because this is going to give the number 1 Corvette of CHRRL. I really do want to work out how to say his PSN before the end of this 3 hours here. TSO40 has got through on turn 8, and now he's going to push to keep up with 4th place. He has to push. AXR Group isn't going to let off. He's not going to let him go. He's going to be able to save a bit of fuel behind him now. He's not going to have the pressure. Already half a second, and of course Adam having better tyres, being slightly more consistent round sector 2, will just start to pull away. He's made a 10th in round turn 12. Makes another 10th, 2 tenths round turn 13 and 14. another 10th there in turn 15. How is he looking against 4th place? 1.3 seconds. But we've got to work out if on pace he's taking away from the car. Adam did run slower on lap 35 by 1.3 seconds, but traffic battles, that was all involved. That's probably explaining that why. Nobody's going to have slipstream between them, just checking on that battle between 3rd and 2nd. And Liam's going to have a bit of a handful here going down the Kemmel Straight, just 3 tenths between himself and Hairgrew here. Obviously the pit strategy slightly different here as well. Liam pitting on lap 28 and he does get past him relatively easy, doesn't really put up a fight, but he will keep battling going through now as we see Tom back, so you will get to see this battle. Tom, you've missed some lovely battles between 4th, 5th and 6th. They've been battling pretty much the whole time you've been gone, and we're just getting back into now the race for 2nd, 3rd and 4th and 5th hopefully will come back into play in a little bit.
Okay, well, my apologies that I take a little break. I do have to admit I've been starting to feel sick yesterday evening, and during the past night it's only gotten worse, so I just took a little break, just take a little bit of medication and get something warm to drink. But we're here, we're racing, so we are going quickly through the field as we expected. That this battle is gonna, I predict this is gonna be up to the end, Jordan. That battle for 3rd position.
I think with the strategies that the AXR cars have put themselves on, there's a big battle between the 2nd and 3rd, and there's a big battle for 4th, 5th and 6th. And the difference really is that the AXR cars will drop off a little bit, the others will catch up, then they will pit, and then after the others have pit, we just get this absolute manic mess of kind of 2 major battles between 5 cars, you know.
Yeah, the cars spread out and then come back together.
Yeah, it's just interesting that the top 4 between 3rd and 4th, they all pitted roughly at the same time when the XR cars get out the way, and they've just a little gap between 4th and 3rd has reappeared of 11 seconds.
And as we see that the Porsche with yellow sausage keeps going
he's
lap.
in that gap now.
He's in a gap, a little bit of a lonely race at the moment. So,
like I said earlier, lonely races aren't always the worst thing in the world. He might not mind this. He's racing his own race, yeah, he's just got to keep focused now and maintain it. You can just enjoy the view, much like I'm enjoying the view of that beautiful livery.
He has a gap of 27 seconds on Baker in the Jaguar, and in 9th at the moment it's Danker. He's 8.4 seconds behind Baker, and in 10th is Corey, the TAG Academy Racing Team car. And 1 minute and 24 down, we have SCW Chicken. And did something happen with Chicken? Did he have an issue or something?
Chicken had some blue flags. He had Vega on his tail. He's now got blue flag coming up with the Porsche, but Chicken has had a series of blue flags from the top 6 guys already. He's had them to deal with, and it always seems to be for Chicken so far that he's had those blue flags at possibly the worst times he could have had them. Obviously, we all kind of saw, I think we saw, or maybe we just heard it, that Vega was trying to get past him on the blue flag around turn 12, and SCW Chicken just had to take evasive action and handled it very, very well. But he also had a bit of struggle with his tyres. Obviously, the Jaguar's front tyres go a heck of a lot quicker than any other car on the grid, so he was just pushing, coming to the end of his stint. And when you're at the end of your stint, it's already kind of a lot to think about with your car. To have the race leader chasing you down as well, it was a little bit of a precarious, so I think that's where he lost a bit more time than he maybe would have wanted.
Yeah, that will
pop off for 2 seconds, Tom.
Yeah, no problem. So as we go back up to the front, guys, we see that the previous 7-second lead of GTS Vega has come down to 2.4 seconds. So KWE here, he has pulled the 2.7 second gap of Liam, but we still have an hour and a half to go of this stint. So we are at the moment 4 hours and 30 minutes into the race, guys, and we will be going up to 12 hours, so still a long way to go. We have 2 more stints after this one. So for all the teams, anything is still possible, and it's Liam who is coming into the pits on the hour and a half marker. That sets TS040 now in P4. We have Groot, who's now coming up to the start finish line, and La Source is... So Liam is gonna fueling up. Here is Groot. Yeah, so Liam is gonna... Oh, Groot having a little moment there. And Liam, he's done fueling up. He will be... So we have Yellow Sausage now passing CW Chicken. Yeah, Liam just went into pit early. So once those top 3 guys pit, Liam is gonna be back up with them. .4 seconds for GTS Vega with the Aston. KWE here, he has a little, I think 2 laps or something less fuel than Vega, and yeah, also his tires are a tiny little bit worn.
It'd be interesting because we're expecting Groot to pit at some point, but Liam has just changed his strategy just a little bit, underfilled the car quite a bit, and it's just going to spice up the top, well, not the top 5, but from 2nd through to 6th. Just trying to do the maths on the laps that we've got here. Bear with me.
Well, it might
So
be
this
a
is-
strategy move from Liam to try to
I
get...
think we are potentially going to see here, because it's being consistent right now with what this same car did in the first stint. The AMG pitted on lap 11, only ran 11 laps in the first stint. Liam there has just done 11 laps. He's just done it the other way round. He's played in the battles, and now that he's not really in a massive battle himself, he's just done 11 laps. He's just taken the short 25, 26 minute pit stop. So maybe he is now reverting back to the strategy that we saw Caliber do
Earlier, yeah.
Earlier. He's just done it a slightly different way. His stint lengths are still going to be roughly the same, which ironically is just going to catch everyone out. Everyone who watched the first stint and saw what Caliber did and how
that worked out.
Was,
yeah.
They're all expecting it, and Liam hasn't done that. But now all of a sudden it seems like he is doing that. So it's going to be interesting. Obviously, we didn't get to see the end of Caliber's strategy because of the unfortunate disconnect. So we don't really know how this is going to play out with this car. If it is on the same track, he has just gone off. I think it is now the case that they are shorter stints, pushing it very, very hard. He's just got to remember that he's just come out the pits. He's just gone onto the grass around turn 13 and 14, I believe. But it's going to be interesting to see this car now, because I have so much information about all the other cars and what kind of pit lengths they did, and they're all similarly following their Stint 1 drivers. But obviously we didn't get to see the AXR Mercedes finish its race. So we're all in the blue with how this car's going to work out. He's not running the same 214 pace as his teammates, but he's still running at a decent, he's only running about a second slower, 215.5, and he has put in a 214.4 in, and I honestly believe we're going to start to see him push into the 214s more now with the lighter car looking like he's going to be doing more stops. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does here.
Yeah, definitely. And as we are now with THG Danker, and I'm looking at THG Danker, his lap times, and the man is on a very steady pace, doing 17s. Okay, now he's coming up towards tire wear, but he just keeps it into the 18s, low 18. He does have a 15-second lead on Corey, and
he's going to benefit from that lead as well, because Corey's got Vega coming up on him, very, very hot blue flags, and
Corey is also lower on fuel, I see, than Danker. So Danker is able to stay out longer, so I don't think that Danker has to worry too much about Corey.
It's a shame that the battle from 10th, 9th, 8th that we saw so early on hasn't quite materialised in the same way. It's very different. Very interesting to see that the Aston BMW that I was so looking forward to seeing just it's a bit different this stint, and Corey doing his absolute best to get out the way of Vega.
You don't want to get in trouble with the leaders.
He's got second place coming up on us now. He's flashing his lights. Corey has absolutely
noticed that.
The right thing there. He didn't have to let off that much, did he? But he just, again, you're not my battle. I don't need to worry about you. Actual fact, I think that Hairgrew was probably gaining a bit more slipstream off of him there than Vega got going up there.
Well, I'm quickly going up to Hairgrew, and well, that time has come down to 2 seconds. So it is gradually coming closer to Vega.
Yeah, I think he's just kind of decided I've got to push on this a bit more. I can't let him get away too far. Vegas have a lot of traffic to get through as well, so he has now, because these two have now lapped everybody. Yeah, they have now lapped everybody, so they've gone through the field, so maybe Vega's been held up a bit more than he would have liked, and that's got him into it. I'll try and keep
who's the
that.
Because you have a second screen, who's the next one that they're gonna come across?
So these two now will come up against Chicken.
Okay, they come across Chicken now?
No, sorry, they won't. They will. 1 second, let's get the actual circle map up. They will come up against Danker, I believe. Danker and Baker.
Okay, then.
So they haven't overtaken absolutely everyone, I think. Or they have, and we are laps down. They're coming up to their second lap, which I actually think is the case. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, well, in the
they're coming around
past,
for their second time.
well, in the past, I've had moments that during the stream that the telemetry on lap times and everything, that the game messed it up from time to time, like a kind of a glitch, and sometimes it can get a little bit confusing, and sometimes it doesn't measure 100% correctly, but it stays within 2.1 seconds between the leaders. And in P3 at the moment, on a steady 15 pace, just did a 16, is TS040. He does have CHR R1 right behind him within a second, but they're on the same, they're on the same fuel and the same tires, so this is going to be interesting.
This is interesting that the Mercedes has a slightly better right side.
And we have a yellow flag
Corvette.
issue at pole,
I have a
and
feeling that may be.
that was TSG Corey. Go Corey!
Corey is.
He has issues and he has stopped in the middle of the track. It was TS quickly going over to Corey. What happened with him? He doesn't have damage.
No, but he might do if he's not careful. Slow down, Corey.
He does have to watch out on re-entry. Get off the race line just to get back up to speed before you rejoin. And he
hasn't got anyone behind him. He needs to settle in. I think this is the longest, coming up to the longest that Corey GT would have been driving.
That was terrifying for TS040.
So I think he just needs to relax and slow it down, maybe take a steadier pace, steadier, he's got to finish, and finishing 43 seconds behind, he is going to pit. Finishing 43 seconds behind Danker, it is not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. Kevin won't mind that, he won't be too bothered, and he's more likely, if he gets himself some damage, to make it worse for himself than to gain anything from trying to push that car the extra bit.
And CHRR1, he's keeping it just under a second off TS040.
Said Corey's this is the longest race, but not just Corey, for a number of other people. Even if I was racing, this would have been my longest stinted race. It's a lot of new drivers who are not new to e-racing and not new to the game, but new to the competitiveness of this series. And you know, he was saying to me earlier that he's enjoyed the training. It's looked good. He's excited. You know, he didn't have much choice in the car because there were so late entries, but he feels good in it, and he's happy with the way that the team have got it set up. Strategy coming in is just kind of seeing and playing where it goes. He's not entirely sure how he'll deal with it. Probably seeing a little bit of that more now, where he probably did want to push this car to the end of the fuel tank, but just realised that actually my tyres have gone a little bit more than I wanted to. I just maybe need to take a two-second break, give myself a minute, and just take a slightly earlier pit strategy. But Corey has said he'd love to get a top 5. It's maybe looking like that's not going to happen. The field is very, very competitive this year, but he is just here to have a lot of fun and gain a lot of experience, and that is something that I think he is doing. He's definitely getting a lot of experience this race, as are a lot of these guys.
Yeah, a lot of these guys.
Even the guys who are at the top winning the race, they'd be getting plenty of experience that he might not have had this time round. So it's good to see that from Corey today.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's nice about this field. That I mean, you have experienced drivers here, and you have less experienced drivers here, but you know, the 12 hours of Spa is actually open to everybody who wants to race, you know. And I mean, there are rules and there are regulations, and you do have to really stick to them, and I mean, read through them, and as long as you apply them, then everybody is fine, you know. I mean, as the organizer and as the race director, for me, it is beautiful to see that the respect that I see on this grid, and that was in previous edition also, the respect towards each other. Doesn't matter if you're fast or slow. We're a bunch of lads that want to race, have a good day. Okay, it's a very long day, 12 hours, but we want to have a great time. It's not something we do every weekend, but we just for once want to have a good time together. And for me as race director, Jordan, it's that gives me that good feeling, you know, to see everybody, you know, actually work a little bit together. We did have to set, of course, some rules. That's normal. I mean, it's a game, so in a game there are rules that you have to stick to it, but there are no rules, I think, in here that, you know, are not achievable, and so far we've seen that everybody has been applying the rules so far. Okay, I saw as race director a couple of passes on blue flags where I think from the faster guy take it a little bit easy, you know, just hold on a second, just let the slower car just take that turn and pass a bit later on. But okay, everybody wants to push here and win, of course. I mean, I think if you were in this, you would also push, not?
Well, yeah, you'd have to. I've always, you know, I've had it in previous series. I think we were talking yesterday about was it round 5 in my debut series in the 4-hour series, I think it was, 2-hour stints. We had it so precisely done. I just had to follow the plan. It was going absolutely perfectly. I was sat exactly where I wanted to be. You know, we had guys commentating who was, you know, saying, you know, what an improvement it was for the other races. It was great. And then the last 20 minutes, blue flag situation happened between me and the race leader, and it was nobody's real fault. It was just a miscommunication, and it ended my race essentially. Luckily it didn't end the race leader, as he was in a fierce battle for first and second, but these things happen and you just have to take it as it comes. But when you are sometimes the guy being blue flagged, you don't want to cause issues, and the guys being fast, they just want to get past you, and they're in their own zone. These guys are they're in the zone, and they don't want any disruptions, because disruptions loses time. And if anything, you know, you're in the worst position when you are being blue flagged because, you know, you're the one who's got to get out of the way. Equally, there is responsibility on both sides to do it, you know, wisely, and, you know, nobody wants to ruin anyone's race. And as the race leader, even though you feel like, you know, you're going to lose a position, you're going to get, you know, you're going to lose your slipstream, often or not, it's not always the case, because that person who's following you has also got to get past them. Sometimes that's the case, but try and tell them when they're racing to slow down and not pass a car that you should be able to just pass freely. It is not always an easy thing.
No, it's not.
For them to do.
No, it's definitely not. That's true. And as we look at TS040 at the moment, we see he has pulled a gap of 4.3 seconds on CH or 1 in the Corvette, but this is gonna get interesting because they both have to come into pit lane.
Well, it's that same thing that happened last stint. We are seeing quite a repetitive stint this time. The top 4 all will be pitting at the end of this lap, I'm assuming. Obviously they all have differences, you know, 2 seconds here, 4 seconds between that. So it's not as close as it was, but this is going to bring AXR Liam right back into it. A pit stop
that's
is
what I said.
45 plus seconds? So,
yeah, that's what I said previously, that Liam, he pitted earlier, so it's gonna bring him back. But so I do see on fuel that Vega has a lap of fuel more than the than the rest of the.
Yeah, because Vega has done a really good job this stint of saving fuel in that Aston. I mean, he's kind of done it all race, but.
So is Vega now gonna come in, or is he gonna stay?
Is he gonna pit?
Stay out one more lap? No, he comes in. So I guess that all the rest is also coming in.
We are gonna see 1, 2, 3, 4 again.
It's gonna get really busy now in pit lane. See what TS040 is gonna do. Yeah, he's also gonna come in, as he has that 4.8 second lead. So we have the top 4 now in pit lane. And where is our friend Liam? Here he is.
This will get Liam back into it.
Yeah, it will pass.
Maybe a little too far away. He's only going to be about. He's only going to be about 10, 15, 15 more like 15, 20 seconds.
Will it be enough for Liam?
Behind.
Will it be enough? Oh, look, here's Vega coming out. This is going to get close between the two.
And this is going to be interesting now, because I think now what we're going to see between Vega and Liam is the same strategy that we saw between the Mercedes last time out. Liam is right in this for the race lead. He maybe just needed a tenth or 2 extra to get the lead. He'll want that lead in sector 2. Las Vegas maybe adapting to those fresh tyres. He could just pull away. Now he's going to be getting held up ever slightly. Yellow Sausages comes into the pit.
I'm just quickly going through to see the rest of the top 4 that came out. Okay, let's stick with these guys, with Liam and Vega.
This is really interesting, because this is Yellow Sausages. He's made a pit stop lap 48, the same as the front runners, but he's had one less pit stop. And that's that Jaguar, that's that Porsche, isn't it? Yellow
yeah, it's the Porsche.
That's the SEW guys. Baker comes in that Jag as well, on lap 48. 16 and 48, they are running the same strategy. That's the second stop. They're a stop ahead. It saves them 45 seconds on the rest of
the field,
rest of the grid so far. The fact that they're up there in 7th and 8th is just going to prove that their strategy is going to play really well at the end of this race if they
Again,
can keep it up. I can't quite think how it's going to play at the end, but...
Don't know, because Yellow Sausage has just taken on a full fuel tank again, so he's in for another long one.
I don't think if they're the strategy they're going, if they want to do a free stop, like their partners, they have to take fuel full.
Let's see what Baker has pitted. Yeah, also full, of course.
Interesting. Now Liam is almost in slipstream. We're gonna have blue flag situation for Vega. This could really play into Liam's hands. He was so unlucky not to get the undercut done on Vega. Like literally a tenth, 2 tenths, and that's why he's still in second. This blue flag could help him out here. Everyone else is really spaced
Vega
out.
is not gonna wanna.
Between the top two, he's not gonna want to hang about now.
No, he doesn't want to be stuck now behind Baker. I'm pretty sure that Baker will make room.
Yes, he will make room. It's sector to D. There he goes. These are the worst corners to get blue flags on because you cannot do anything about it. Even coming into here, he's got to get around that corner, but he's got to put himself in between these two cars for this next little section of this sector. He'll be thinking, how do I let that second pass without costing him too much time? Because there's we've seen a whole 7 tenths created now. Just wonder if Liam's gonna get the slipstream. He's gonna have to use that slipstream, and he's maybe thinking to Baker, just keep going for a little bit longer for me. I'll get you on the next straight.
Yeah, we got KWE here. He's also there. So for Baker, it's a busy time on blue flags coming up. He's done 1 and he has 2 more to go.
I think this is where we're going to see him. Oh, he has just enjoying being on stream right now. But he's not hurting too much. Baker is getting a bit of a gap on this, more of a gap than if Baker wasn't there. But Liam is going to get slipstream here, so he'll get the benefit of him being there, and I expect halfway down the Kemmel Straight for Baker to just move out the way off the line. He's saying you go to the left, you go to the left. Baker's just got to stay there.
Yeah, there you go.
That was if you ever want to see and learn how to manage a blue flag situation.
That was a beautiful example.
Look at how Baker did that. That was a round of applause there for Baker. He used his indicators.
A beautiful fair play.
Gave Liam time and just led off. He wasn't too worried about the corner coming up. He was just like, you worry about the corner, and I'll deal with it from however you get past me.
And he knows, look at that. He knows he has that third car also.
Yeah, the XR boys might be a little bit frustrated at how long Liam was behind him there. He was a second behind him now. He's lost an entire second.
Okay, but the guys on blue flags, my apologies.
Yeah.
They know that they can just keep racing, and it's up to the faster guys to, to pass. And if that means that they have to, show a little patience and a little respect towards the slower guys, then yeah, they have to do that,
Yeah, and again, that's hats off to Liam. He didn't put Baker under an immense amount of pressure because he didn't need to. He was probably feeling just as frustrated, seeing that gap between Vega just increase every now and then. He's also coming to the end of his stint, so
he comes in, Liam now. That means that KW
he wouldn't have been that fast as much he maybe would have, you know, that 2 seconds makes the difference. Like you say, the strategy that he's now on, Liam, you know, he was only a tenth or two from being in first place, having Vega having to chase him down, and that little sector there that he was behind is only puts the next strategy back again. So maybe a little bit frustration there from for Liam.
Let's see where Liam, yeah.
Hopefully he can keep his head. He looks like
it can be a little bit frustrating.
Well, he looks like he's on for a 5 stop, maybe a 5. Hopefully not a 6. I don't think we would have seen a 6 from Caliber if he kept going. He was running 25 to 26 minute stints. Mass is not quite there. I think that is a 5 stop.
And this brings the two AXR cars back together with 1 hour to go. And
yeah, and this is if Liam on the fresher tyres catches up, they could obviously, he's going to get the slipstream. He's probably going to get an easy pass. I have a feeling we might now see the team orders really come into play here. The group has just settled into that 5th place battle. 5th is pretty much his right now, and unless we see some mistakes ahead of him happen, or he has some mistakes. But Liam is on a different strategy. He's taking slightly different. He's pressing, and towards the end of the race he could be up there battling for a podium. So team orders could come into play here.
Maybe. As we
interesting, because Groot actually is the next person in the pits as well, so I reckon we'll see him by lap 56, 57 maybe. Can't have more than 4 or 5 laps left in the tank there. I don't have any percentages to work with, so it's kind of going by
what you see on the screen, yeah.
By what I see on the screen, but
it's like a little bit of guess. We might be a lap wrong or something.
If anyone in the chat has maybe a better understanding on the fuel gauge, what are we running 2 times fuel? Is that what we're running?
Yes,
2 times fuel.
The tire wear is ×2 and fuel is also ×2.
Then let us know if you have a better indication of what Groot might have left in the tank. It's a lot more relaxing this then, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the battles come up and then disappear again, but I'm looking forward to actually the last half hour after the next pit stop. But I get the impression that KW here, he's settling behind Vega. Maybe he has a plan, and maybe he has something now. I relax a little bit now, and after next pit stop I will just push it like crazy. You don't know that, because that lap time between Vega and here, the time difference stays very steady between those two. Chicken letting Vega pass.
Chicken just, a lot of time you can sometimes just gain a little bit of extra slipstream off of a blue flag, and it just gives you an extra bit. It'll bring the slightly, he's got a penalty there. It's a little bit too cautious in the blue flag there. It's fine because the bus stop's very easy to get rid of penalties. It would have brought him a little bit into Corey, I think for Chicken right now it's keep the car going, don't lose too much time on his own race, and just finish it. He's done very nicely to let another blue flag there, but you know, he wasn't interested in catching any slipstream off of Vega there. He's just running his own race, see this car out. I must have missed a pit stop from him because he's on very fresh tyres. Did I? I definitely have done.
Yeah.
Rubbish. If anybody has any indication in the chat about when he pitted, please let me know. I do like to write it down to help with our info. But that'll be, I believe, one more stop for him. Yeah, one more stop.
Yeah, I guess these guys will have one more pit stop to go. I do
down as well.
I do have to mention, guys, that unfortunately, due to I'm host of the next stint, I will have to shut the stream down a bit earlier than the race is done, as I have to open the next lobby for Stint 3. Stint 3 won't be streamed on the World Tour Racing Club channel. We are taking a break for a moment then, and we will post a link on where it's going to be live streamed and commentated. So no worries, we have everything covered up live for you guys. The World Tour Racing Club YouTube channel will of course be back for the final stint, the final battles on this 12-hour journey here on Spa-Francorchamps. So my apologies a little bit that I will have to 15 minutes to 20 minutes before the end of this, I will have to shut it down and start preparing lobby 3, where our Stint 1 drivers are coming back in, and I'm crossing my fingers, but I think, Jordan, it's gonna be a big battle again with Caliber, who has had a little break now and time to freshen up.
Well,
his batteries will be charged again.
The team are obviously not in a great position, but they've also got nothing to lose. And like you say, he has now had a lot longer than everyone else to freshen up. He's had maybe a chance to think, do I need to make any tweaks to my car? Do I want to change anything? He's had longer. He may have been in lobbies, we don't know. He may have been trying, a little bit here or there. He's been the fastest driver of the day, and from what we're hearing, he can go faster. We did see in qualifying some 213s, and we know that 213s are there. I believe he got pole, didn't he, with a 213.2.
Yes.
A 213.2 is now obviously that is a qualifying time, so we're probably not going to see that in the race. But I think we will see on the next stint Caliber get a 213 at some point. He was thousandths of a second off of getting a 213 last time. I think he might have been kicking himself just the fact that he didn't get it. I think had we seen him finish the first stint, we probably would have seen a 213. We probably would have pushed a little bit harder at some point. I think we're definitely going to see it. I think he's got everything to make up, and if apparently from what we're hearing he is even faster than that, and he is going to make a few tweaks here and there to his car.
Yeah, because he was final. It was really a last moment call to get him to replace Eclipse, I heard from the team, as Eclipse had technical issues. So yeah, Caliber might not have had the amount of testing and tuning time, but even though being that fast on such short notice, yeah, who knows he will come back even faster.
we could see a 212. You never know. If he can get a 213 in qualifying, he can definitely get a 212 with a bit of extra oomph in the car, a bit of tweaking. Obviously, maybe not in race pace, you might not see that, but we could do. We never know, but I'm certainly expecting to see some 213s from him in the next stint. And Liam will be well aware of that and not too worried the fact that he's 15 seconds off 4th place here.
Yeah, and at the moment
a little bit of inconsistent laps Liam has there.
Yeah, well, at the moment we're looking at TS040. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but when I'm looking at TS040, he's like a little underdog in there. You know, he's in that P3, and he's not battling with anybody. He's just doing his race, while 1 and 2 were battling, and 4 and 5 were battling, and he's like, okay, I just keep this pace up, keep this position.
Yeah, he's
out of danger at the moment.
He's dangerous when he's tired, and he's got a blue flag Mike situation. Mike's trying to get out of the way. I think Mike might be Dankert. Sorry, I keep doing that.
It's Dankert, no problem.
He's got that. He just had a little bit of struggle around turn 12, so he knows that his teammate outside of this race, his teammate today, is behind him. He knows he's faster than him. He'll be looking to let him pass here. GTS40 is just like, just stay there, but just let me get some slipstream off of you. Let me just, I'll get you at the bus stop. Just let me have it easy around the bus stop. That'll be great. Don't turn in. There you go. Let me say thank you very much. Go flat out there. The battle between first and second is really about to heat up here. He's within a second now, going down Kemmel Straight. It's also interesting, the tyres are just starting to get away from Hairgrew a little bit, but the fuel situation is also in his favour. It was massively in his favour, but I think he just had to push a little bit harder to catch up. So it's going to be interesting because, like I said, Vega is doing really well on the fuel front in that Aston against the Corvettes. From what we saw, the Astons and the Corvettes in Stint 1 across the board. So we have a battle at first and second once again.
Yeah, well, I think Vega is
come down into the pit bus stop. This is going to come down into the bus stop. KWE boys are not writing themselves off in this race, are they?
No, they're not. They're not. Of course not. And Vega, he is managing that Aston Martin really well. Because he's a steady pace doing 15s. So KW here, he's also doing 15s, but there are 14s there. So KWE here, he is slightly faster, and you can see that wobbling of that Corvette, that he is pushing it. He is pushing. Like you said, he knows that bus stop is coming there, so maybe this lap, maybe next lap. I think his first plan is to get as close as he can to the Aston. The Aston is a little bit lower on fuel. As of tire wear, they're the same.
I think with the way that, he might not know this, but the way that Vega is handling that Aston, it would benefit if he can just keep up with him, save more fuel, then take it to the next stint. That is what I would be thinking here. But again, if he thinks he's faster than Vega right now, which on pace, I mean, he's right there, isn't he?
He's right there. He can do it if he wants to.
He was faster through 55 and 56. He was only slower through the last lap by, 0.02 of a second essentially. So it might be benefit for him to.
Here he comes. He just parks it next to him. He's like, all right, I'll just do it here.
Overtaken.
I predicted bus stop. I got it wrong.
very. Just let him go a little bit. Just don't fight him too hard. Clean racing. I'm expecting Vega now. This is where Vega could also do the benefit of, now I'm going to sit behind you and I'm going to save even more fuel, which is better for my car. It's better for my car because my car's out in front. You will overtake me eventually because I have to save fuel, whereas if I can save fuel behind you and still keep up with you, it will benefit Vega massively. The difference is, Vega just doesn't want to fall out of his slipstream here, because if he falls out of his slipstream, he's going to have to push again to keep up.
And like we're seeing now, TS040, he's just doing his own race. He's just doing his own race. CHRR1, he's in P4 at the moment. He has like a gap of 10 seconds and 13 seconds ahead and back of him. We are in 5th place with Liam. Now, Liam has, we know that he has the pace. In 6 at the moment. It's Groot.
We're going to see Liam come back into this at some point. Right now, Vega is not giving in. He doesn't want to sit behind and save fuel. I mean, he's just had a real nibble, really late braking into the bus stop against Hairgroup. Maybe underbraked a little bit too much and things got a little bit hairy. So he's now out of slipstream. That's the mistake that Hairgroup needed to pull away.
What's Vega?
Vega. Vega's just had
a moment there.
There. Dirty tires will come into play a little bit now, and he just needs to.
But that was on the straight. Maybe Radilon just shaking up the car a bit, losing traction.
Wondering if maybe Vega wasn't quite expecting the overtake to happen so quickly into the stint. It's just caught him off guard, and he is having to push now more. You see that the fuel instantly is
drops.
As we were saying that Vega was managing that fuel. All of a sudden, even from behind, he's now having to push that fuel with that Aston. I mean, the Aston is the only V12 on the grid.
Yeah, and he is pushing as the time is going down. Jordan.
He is definitely pushing.
We're back under 2 seconds now.
So Vega, who has had the best part of 2 hours 15 minutes in control of this race, starting to see the long-term strategy and maybe the fact that the Corvette this weekend is looking like the stronger car. Maybe that is just coming into play here. It's nice to see a little bit more excitement, and we're not just getting that Stint 2 lull. This is the first stint for all of these drivers so far, but they've had a lot of information. They've seen the first stint. I think pretty much all of the drivers were probably watching in the live stream what was going on.
Yeah, well, for the drivers,
a little bit more prepped. They all know that, like, oh, the Corvette's gonna go here. You know, it was better on fuel than this and that. And they're coming in with a lot more information, whereas the drivers from Stint 1, apart from their testing, they've just kind of got to go for it. So you do get a lot more battles, you get a lot more risk taken. And Hairgroup's now looking hairy going through turns 3, 4 and 5. He might get a penalty there. He may have just gotten away with that. But Vega's right behind him. Vega would have seen that, and he'll be thinking, okay, this is not getting away from me. Yes, the time is dropping a bit more, but if he's going to make more mistakes like that, we're going to be there. But for now, Hairgroup is starting to pull away. Vega's starting to put 2:16.6s in, two very consistent 2:16.681 and 2:16.683 the last 2 laps, extremely consistent, just not as fast. Hairgroup at a 2:14.9, and so he's probably sat here thinking, hey, maybe in the next lap or two I can challenge XR Liam's fastest time. Don't get any points for fastest time in this race, but it's just bragging rights, purely bragging rights.
Yeah, well, Hairgroup, he has shown that 14s for him are completely possible. So his previous lap was a 15.6, so he's 1.1 second down from his fastest lap, so that would be another 15, as he of course sees in his mirrors that Vega, don't know, maybe Vega is let him go a little bit, save a little bit of fuel.
Corey's in the pits. He has ran his car right to the end. You are going to start to see some cars pitting now, I think.
And let's quickly go over to Corey.
It's going to be interesting because Liam has now settled in, and if you think about it, the top two are kind of going to pit just before Liam, but there's not much more in it. He's had to push a lot harder to chase that top four pack. And the big battle really is going to be between the top two at the end of this race. I don't think Liam has... I think just starting from the back of the grid, you know, it's not helped me.
No, it hasn't helped him. He did come up really fast, up to 5th, 4th, I think.
I believe from what we saw in the short testing that we were doing, the gap from the rolling start between 4th and 1st is about 2 to 3 seconds. So if you take that, starting from 11th on 1st, it's easy to see where the 15 seconds from between him and the top 4, you know, it's ultimately come from the fact that he's had to start so far back, he's had to battle through, whereas the top 4 have just been able to run off and race. They've had their battles themselves, but they have just been able to kind of get guys out the way and get going, and he's had a lot more to do. He's probably looking a lot more forward to the final stint, Liam, because, you know, he was expecting, you know, looking the way it was going, to start on pole, and I think he'll be expecting to be starting his next 3 hours on pole as well. But you never know what happens. He thought he was going to be on pole, and it literally went from pole to last place, and he has done incredibly well
to gain
to get where he's got to
come back, yeah,
and to come back, and we will and see. I think we were all rooting for Liam coming into this, no matter what team you're on. I think even the guys at the top that were racing, they were happy to not see him up there, but you know, give them a bit of breathing space. But you know, they want exciting racing too, as much as they want the win. At the end of the 12 hours, their 6-hour stint, they might be thinking, oh well, it's a bit nicer that I don't have to worry about that, Liam, I don't have to worry about all of that. But at the same time, they would want the battles, they want the fun racing, you know, they want all of that, so they'd be a little bit disappointed. And I know for certain that a lot of people in the chat will be rooting for XR Liam right now, given the unfortunate event that happened.
Yeah, but I mean, like you said, Liam is now in fifth position, so he gained already a massive amount of positions back, and we're not even halfway a race, you know. Okay, it went wrong in stint 1, but we still have a long way to go, so I wouldn't be surprised that next stint these guys are gonna move up again a few spots, and who knows, by the end in stint 4 they will be right up top again with Vega, and the last stint will be again, yeah, with Vega and Hairgrew, and
Hairgrew has such an advantage right now. He's got 2.6 seconds. That 2.6 seconds could disappear in one mistake, don't get us wrong, but
yeah,
he's probably gonna go an extra lap, I would have thought, Hairgrew here, and just force Vega to pit early. He'll have the fresher tyres coming out, and he's gonna force Vega to really push that Aston towards the end of the race. So Hairgrew is happy. I mean, he's lost 2 tenths in sector 3 there, so it's not over yet. I mean, there's still 2 or 3 laps expecting for these 2 cars to go. It's up to 3 seconds now. I don't know what's happened to Vega there, a little bit swirly, but it's going to come down right to the end of these 2, isn't it? And but I wouldn't be surprised if Hairgrew goes the extra lap on this stint, forces Vega into the battle with with TSO40, with his teammate, and with Liam, because the way that Liam's running as well, Hager and Vega, he is going to just about pit Vega. He'll probably not get, well, at the moment, he might get everyone, but I don't know if Liam's going to challenge for the podium this stint, but he will be right in the mix for the first part of the next stint at least, because of the way that the pit strategies have gone. So we are going to get a heck of a lot more excitement.
Next stint, yeah.
Next stint. So we are in the lull right now as the gap goes from 3 seconds, and kind of that is the closest gap that anyone is. Dankert pitting there, trying to get the jump on Baker. Baker's going to be doing a lot more as he lets a car through. And the gap between Corey is so far. So, but this is going to be interesting because Corey and Dankert finishing behind each other means that the next stint between Mike and Kevin is going to be right there, right from the off. And after last time, that's going to be really interesting to see.
Yeah, and it will definitely be interesting to see. And I hope that the issues that Kevin had that doesn't occur anymore, because I mean, as I heard that Kevin, he is a graduated THG Academy driver, so he has stepped up his race. It's the first time that he's here with us for the 12 hours of Spa. In the previous edition he wasn't here, so it was a little bit unfortunate to see that engine damage pop up, because he had a great time, I think, with Mike. Those boys were on it completely.
Yeah, and it was good to see.
But it's gonna bring it back. It's gonna bring it back the next stint if everything stays like this. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. So there's all kinds of action coming up, I think.
Like I predicted, Vega has pitted lap 63, and that's going to put him, I believe, just behind Liam. If he goes for a full tank of fuel, he might get away with it. The split time for me right now is saying that he's not, but obviously the minute Liam passes that start line, I'll get a better indication. He has been released. I think he might just get in front of Liam. He did.
Yeah, he's
in front of Liam. Liam isn't going to be involved in this as much as we wanted with Vega, but he is still going to be up there potentially. If he pits a bit earlier, he's going to bring that gap down between third place and him a little bit. Maybe not enough for him to battle for fourth place. Vega's only 2 seconds behind TSO40. Now Gru is going to pit this lap, as is TSO40, as is CHRRLRM12. Nobody has still told me how to pronounce his name, so that's as good as you get it. The number one.
I don't think that Gru is gonna pit right now, because he has more than a quarter of fuel left.
Well, Groot is gonna. Oh, you think that Groot might run to the end?
Well, I don't think he's gonna be able to do it to keep the car going for 32 minutes, but I don't think he's gonna come in yet.
He's not coming in yet, but there goes Hergru.
Of course, that's a reaction on Vega.
Well, no, that's.
Okay, no, it's the end of. Okay, that's his lap. Yeah,
so
I see it on his fuel.
Vega was going to go a lap early. Hergru was going to take the advantage of that and go the extra lap. We expect to see second and third, and the question will be where do they come out? Vega's got caught behind Corey a little bit on a blue flag.
Well, let's stick with this pit stop.
Where is he gonna come out? He should clear everyone.
TS04 also on his final pit stop. CHR1 also coming into pit lane, and it's Vega who is taking the lead. I don't know how much. No,
Yeah,
it's hair grew. It's hair grew. It's
2.6, yeah,
it's hair
that's
grew.
what I was saying. That's what I was saying. He could have taken the extra time. He could have got himself out. He already had a two-second lead, so it didn't really make any difference to him. He got to go that extra lap, gave himself some breathing room, and it basically works as a reaction. And now he's going to have fresh tyres. The problem is that Vega is going to be attacking now. And
He's going to be attacking, yeah, definitely.
He's got to attack because he's got to get in front as soon as possible. But again, he can now happily get as close to him, sit behind him a little bit, look after his tyres, look after his fuel, and he'll have the lighter car. So it's just a case of, can he look after those tyres? They're only one lap in it, and one lap, although it does make a difference, it doesn't make as much of a difference when these guys are running as consistently as they are. So if he can get behind him and manage this well, and obviously, is that Baker ahead? I believe it is Baker ahead, so blue flag situations around Sector 2, it's not easy to get out of a blue flag situation. So this could, well done Baker, but now he's split the cars, and Baker got the advantage of cars being split earlier with Liam, and now it's looking like Hairgroom might get that opportunity, although Baker's been my MVP under blue flags today. He's just handled them so well. So
yeah, and he has had his shares of blue flags today, but I mean, I might just make afterwards a video of Baker on for an example on how you clear blue flags. Amazing how the guy does it, nice and clean. I mean, there hasn't been an issue. Baker's coming in.
As well, so
yes.
That solves that issue.
So the road is open again for the guys.
The road is open, but equally, Vega might be thinking, oh, I was expecting to get a bit of slipstream there.
The question also is TS040 gonna be able to keep that 9-second gap now during the last 29 minutes on the Corvette of CHR 1RN12, I'm sorry, because that's the winning car of last edition, the #1 car. Now I know these guys, I know these guys last year, they pulled it off. It was amazing to watch. So it's 8.8 seconds now.
Yeah, he is taking time off of Adam.
Yeah, he's gonna push now. And I saw in previous edition that CHR1, he can put the pedal down on a final part of a race. So I'm sure that in the pit box of the Humble Guys Racing team there are some worries now, as the time does come down to 8.7 now.
Yeah, they'll keep an eye on it. The difference is going to be, of course, that, okay, you don't need to save fuel at this point because you've only got 28 minutes left. You will get a full tank. We'll last you that. It's more the tyres. Adam looks like he's just going to save on the tyres. They will benefit me later. I think Adam won't be too worried if that gets down to about 5 seconds or so long as he's not burning his tyres, because he'll be on the understanding that the guy chasing him's tyres will be more worn. So I don't think he'll get too complacent with it, but he won't be too worried if he sees that 9-second gap drop to 8 or 7 seconds. They're both two very good drivers and they're both very consistent, so I don't think he'll be worried too much. It's just, like you say, one mistake and
it's done. Yeah,
is gone. So he'll be focusing on his race more than the guy behind him. His worry will be is if
just saw fastest sector time for Adam, so he might be pushing now, saying, well, it's the last half hour, I want to secure this.
Push a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I can push a little bit. I have the fuel, I have the tires, and yeah, if I look at TS040, we've seen him race a lot before we know that he most of the time puts himself into his mind from I need a gap of like, there you go, a fastest lap for him now, a personal best of 15.1. He can say to himself, well, I need a gap of like 10, 12 or 15, 20 seconds. I'm going for that. I need that. And he will push it to it until he gets that. He's a determined driver. So the gap has, as we can see, it has come more open again. 9.66, 9.6 seconds now on CHR.
Yeah, so just also had to see that the gap between first and second is now 3.5. Vegas really had to drop off a lot more, mainly to save maybe a bit of fuel. He's had to save fuel. I mean, he should last the tank on the fuel, but it's more the tyres. He's obviously got 1 lap older tyres, so I think he's just stepping off for maybe a last minute ditch when the car's at its lightest. It's a hard thing to try and do. Do you push now when your cars are fresher and more in their optimal lifespan, or do you maybe use that to just save a little bit? Even though your tyres will be a little bit worn, they'll be about equal with your competitor, but you'll then have a lighter car because of your fuel, and then you can push a bit harder. You've just got to be a bit more careful. He seems to be stepping off a little bit. He's not got any worries behind him. Second, it's either second or first for him. He'll be wanting first, but
yeah, he's going to be wanting first, man.
He's not going to want to let him get away. It's now 4 seconds. Blue car's starting to get involved again, but that could hinder him as much as help him.
Well, Vega Vega might also.
And Vegas slips up there. See, and that's what happens. You get stuck behind a blue car. You stop thinking about it. You start thinking, how am I going to overtake this guy? And you step on the throttle a bit too much, or you don't turn in as much, you clip a bit too much curb. He's putting that car right on the limit through in Rouge there. That's what you have to do to be as fast as these guys are. Very fine line between getting a penalty and getting a purple sector.
Yeah, and as these drivers know that the penalty system in the game is from time to time a little harsh or a little ridiculous. Like for example, Le Mans. I mean, there you get penalties out of nothing that you think, well, what the heck? Where did that come from? You just touch the curb and that's it, and you get a penalty. You're like, huh? How is that possible? But let's hope for GT7 that they got that a bit better sorted out.
Not long now. I think is it 5 weeks? It doesn't feel like it should be 5 weeks, but it's not long now. Almost less than a month until it's released, and hopefully they sort their penalty system out. Hopefully they sort, as people are saying in the comments. Benedict Roberts is saying that it is a shame that GTS doesn't do time progression. Hopefully they fix that in GT7. That would be lovely too, certainly for the big endurance races that we all like to be involved in and watch. And yeah, just hope that certain things, for me, it is the penalty system is what you want sorted. And a few things, maybe with the multi-classes, we were saying yesterday that if they can sort something out with the multi-class elements in open lobbies, bigger lobbies as well, we're hoping for, so we can not have a limit on 16 cars. We can have big 25, 30 race cars. That would be really interesting. We don't have to have separate stint lobbies. We can just have one big race. That would be lovely with separate cars on. That would be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would be great. But as we now got back to TS040, as you see, he's doing 15.1, 15.1. This is gonna be a 15.3. So yeah, he is pushing. He opened up look at that gap. He again taken out 2 seconds from CHR1. And Liam, he's 8 seconds behind.
Liam is 8 seconds. It's still on for Liam. 4th places. This is what we wanted to see. He's thinking now. Look, I've got fuel. Now he won't know how much fuel the other drivers have, obviously, unless his teammates watching the stream and feeding information to him. But he won't know what kind of fuel. But he'll be sitting here thinking, I've got fresh tyres. There's 21 minutes. I've got to burn as much fuel as possible because I have a lighter car, and that's the strategy. I'm going to take time out, and I think we are going to see a really, really late battle between Liam and 4th place, which, if you saw where he started, right at the back of the grid, it's incredible that he's even able to put himself in that battle for top 4. And you just do question that if he did start on pole, like we were all kind of expecting him to be at, where would he have finished? Would he be up there? Would this not be a 4-second gap between Heger and Vega? Would it be a 1, 2, 3 battle?
Possibly, but I'd also a small little shout out at Yellow Sausage, as he's nicely in that 7th position with that Porsche. He brought that Porsche back from Stint 1. So
that Porsches, he's done an absolute solid, and it's really nice to see with the different Stint drivers. You might be sat here watching where it's like, well, you know, it'll go to the next driver and the driver is slower than his partner, and it's a real nice mix that we've got of AMs and Pro-Ams and Pros, and WEC cars and the SCW cars. They have a big mix of drivers,
all kinds of drivers,
and drivers not just racing. They don't have a load. They don't have their best drivers in one car and their worst drivers in another car. They've mixed it up. It's a very balanced. They're going to have one driver's going to be faster in one stint, one driver's going to be faster in the other stint, and that's what we've seen here. And it just balances out the car, and it is nice to see that they are here for the experience. They are here to still compete. They're obviously going to try and compete as hard as they can, but they're not too worried if one driver is slower than his partner. It's all part of endurance racing. At the end of the day, like you said, I think they might technically be almost coming into this. They were ahead of the AXR car purely based off the fact that we had an unfortunate disconnect. So we don't know what happens in the next 2 stints. You know, Liam might have an unfortunate accident and it puts them right back into it. You know, you've got to finish the race, and they'll just be racing it. But it is nice to see, you know, the experience being gained and different levels. Because even though people might say, oh, I hate blue flags, blue flags make the race interesting. Right here, Vega's being held up by Yellow Sausages right now because he can't let him past. I'm sure he will let him past here, but for Vega, that's a 4-second gap that's just come back now, which means he has to push his tyres even harder. So we'd rather drivers finish the race and be in the race till the end than to sit there and look at like for chicken's sake, you know, he sits there and thinks, well, I'm 58 seconds behind Corey, you know.
Yeah, well, I think at the moment
he's gonna finish. He's gonna go because it's not all about that.
Yeah, well, the impression that I'm getting at the moment is that everybody's actually just securing their car. They got a position, they got a nice position, and they're like, okay, we're coming up to the end of 3 hours. We're not gonna risk anything now, because that would completely jeopardize our 12-hour race. So I think most of the guys now have something like, okay, I'm 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. I want to keep this position. We're safe now. Let's keep it just safe. Don't do anything ridiculous now, because that would mess up your complete 3-hour race, your 3-hour stint. So do see the gap opening up with Vega a bit more from here. And like TS040, he's gained another 2 seconds. So it's like everybody's a bit keeping their positions. XR Groot, he's It's 48 and 43 seconds ahead and back of him. Yellow Sausage, he's also clear of everybody. Danker, he's 9 seconds up to Baker. And then Corey 1 minute 44. And SCW Chicken, he's 55 seconds behind Corey.
Just seeing in the chat that the GT7 chat is still going on, and I am too looking forward to the time and weather progression. Those being able to have time cycles, can't wait for that. Unfortunately, Evil Dragon is saying that it's going to be a max of 16 people. So I can't confirm or deny that because I haven't even pre-ordered GT7 yet. I'm that far behind. But if it is, that is a shame if it is only 16 people. But you know, we'll deal with it. And the fact that time progression is and weather that massively changes up competitive racing, doesn't it? And I'm not sure. Someone's asked you to check the race chat.
Yeah, I just checked the chat. So yes guys, for those who are watching,
okay.
Yeah, for those who are watching this stream, we have come down to the moment that I will have to close down the stream, unfortunately, of Stint 2, as I'm the host of Lobby 3. The link of the stream of Lobby 3 will be posted on Facebook and will be posted in the chat box. I'm going to open up Lobby 3 now. Jordan, I want to thank you for joining me here today live in the commentary box. It was fun. Thanks for supporting me. It was a great help as I was not feeling 100% very well. Thanks for picking up a lot of things for me. It helped me out massively to now and then take a sip of my cup of tea and just relax a little bit, as I can't keep talking like 20 minutes on one go.
No, it's been really neither can I. It's been really fun. Fortunately I couldn't race, but
same
I'm
for
not
me.
gonna lie, I've almost enjoyed doing this side of it more than I was enjoying the racing. There's no pressure, there's no nothing. Hopefully the guys watching have enjoyed this stint, even though unfortunately we have to cut it short. They've enjoyed it that much. Hopefully we haven't missed too much for you, and you've been able to keep up and understand what's going on in the race. Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. Thanks for having me.
Hey, it was great, man. It was great. So guys, I will be back for the final stint. That will be fully covered on the World Tour Racing Club channel. I will see, you will hear me back then. So for now it's a break and goodbye from myself and from Jordan. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you guys back on the stream of Stint 3. We hope you enjoyed the rest of the race and definitely the action of Stint 3 coming up to you very soon. For me, it's a goodbye for now, and from Jordan also. Guys, see you later, hear you later. Keep up the good racing. As a race director, I can only say that up till now I'm very happy with the race so far. Beautiful racing. The fight is on, I would say, and we still have 6 hours of the 12 hours to go. Hear you later, guys. Bye bye for now.